Good afternoon, everyone. Calling to order council time, Wednesday, April 23rd, 2025. Let's start with the roll call.
Councillor Young,
Here.
Councillor Belcott,
Present.
Councillor Fuentes,
Here.
Councillor Little,
Present.
and Chair Marshall.
Here.
Thank you.
Are there any amendments to the agenda?
Yes, if we can please remove item number 9.2 and 9.3 under executive session.
Okay, 9.2 and 9.3.
Chair.
Great. Yes, go ahead.
Would like to also add item 8.2, and that is a letter the council had requested last week for the Pacific Salmon Recovery Fund letter to our federal delegation.
Great. Thank you for those changes. Any other changes? Seeing none. Let's just move on to public comment on agenda items only. Is there anyone signed up?
Yes, Chair. Wynn Gersich.
My name is Wynn Gersich, and I want to comment that you're going to be giving a proclamation to Older Americans Month. And this is very important because your aged group, you never funded it. And these people are doing things to teach the seniors and things to grow food, and they have no money. And I know you're in debt and all the other stuff, but you should have funded that because these volunteers took 5 COVID shots. They have no immunity, and you know it. And secondly is I think that Melnick should tell everybody what the ingredients are and the cures, because ivermectin, hydroxychloroquine, and fenbendazole was going to stop COVID when it started. These people took 5 shots, and you can't even fund what they're doing, but they coerced other people to take the shots too. And it's very scary because all of these volunteers during COVID, you made them take the shots. So they need to know that nicotine cures snake venom poisoning that's in the jab. And if they got this book, every government, this is Beyond the COVID Lies 19, Restoring Health and Hope for Humanity, Dr. Brian Artist. He also has a movie called Watch the Water, which they read it to you for free. And it's an interview with Stu Peters. It's on Rumble, but just Google it and you can see it. But these are everything that our council did not tell us because they're on a depopulation roll. And it's really sickening because I really feel bad, especially today, you know, when they had the fire thing and I'm crippled and I could hardly walk down the stairs, but one of your employees followed me by the time I got to the bottom. And you need to tell people what to do if you can't walk stairs. Because if there was a fire, there's no way I could have got out fast. And the wheelchair thing too, because where do the wheelchair people go? Also too, is that the Correctional Officers Week. I know these people all work for you, and it's very scary because you need to tell them you've got the patents, you've got the ingredients, and you should be able to tell everybody. It's time to confess. They could look it up on public record that you do have the patents and what's in those jabs. And it's very important too, because anytime that you build something, you really should put a water filter on everything. That should be part of your, you know, all these old American things. They should have a water filter on every new building. And this is extremely important because you can't get all this stuff out. And we're using chloramine in the water, and that's a fact. But the symptoms right now that are helping, I would also like to see Scott Miller to have his license reinstated for this state, for the fact he was a hero, and it wasn't Dr. Melnick that was saving lives. He was causing your depopulation plan to go through. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else?
Carmen De Leon.
Present. My name is Carmen De Leon and I go by Mello. And I know she just said to like not do this pending litigation 0.91, 0.92, 93. And that's, to me, a layperson, you guys are being sued left and right. And one of these frivolous lawsuits can be fixed as easy as going, I motion to put Belcott back and et cetera, et cetera. I keep repeating myself because you don't seem to listen. If you had listened, I would shut up. But apparently the voters for decades who have said no light rail, you guys aren't listening. And that's a disservice to the whole Clark County. And I do question, at the end of the minutes of the 16th, you talked about annexation. Is that just more of a signal that the city of Vancouver has taken over because they want to annex more of it? And I would like further explanation on that, because we get 1 day a month to go talk in Vancouver for 200,000 people, same as Yakalt with 1,500. Boy, who doesn't want to listen to their people, you know? And we've been threatened left and right about saying the right stuff or not, you know? I mean, you're going to go to jail for speaking out? That sounds so much like tyranny, and yet you're listening to her. Who's in the hole? You know, Camas has a balanced budget, I think. So that's what I heard, that over there they have balanced budgets. City of Vancouver don't. So what are you doing listening to somebody who's in the hole and want to put them further in the hole by 2 million when you could just fix it with a few buses with the tiny minority of barely 1,000 ridership? But you want to do lawsuit after lawsuit, waste more time on something that could have been fixed 2 weeks ago. But hey, you guys have a bottomless pit of money. You obviously don't care. You just want to raise the levy. You want this mental sales tax. Well, you made people mental because nobody can even afford to live. I can't have a job and pay my rent and pay everything up. You know, minimum wage is unlivable. So yeah, people are out there self-medicating, getting arrested. And I tell you, for rehabilitation, what made me stop shoplifting? Fear of jail. I like my freedom more than I liked a pack of cigarettes, you know? And right now, nobody fears jail. They're out there doing everything. And that's what the guy talked about. I think it was minute 8 about the lack of prosecution. Like I say, who's going to prosecute the mayor for all her misuse of public funds and putting the people in the hole and not listening to misrepresentation of the city of Vancouver? Who's going to prosecute the mayor for all the crimes she's committing, including racketeering? Oh, that's right. If you participated, you're not going to want to prosecute her, are you?
Okay, thank you. Is there anyone online?
That does conclude everybody signed up. I do have one participant online.
Okay.
Caller, you've been sent a request to unmute. Please state your name for the record and go ahead with your comment.
Good afternoon, Kimberly Goheen Elvin. So I'll continue with my son, Cleve Goheen Rengo's plight as far as law and justice in a failing system here in Clark County, Washington. The jail system here in Clark County is broken and a real-time disaster. It's a disaster to this very day. Inadequate nutrition, there's mold in the showers, tainted water, vitamin C packets that have toxic fillers. I mean, this is stuff they're getting every day thinking, well, I'm getting my vitamin C anyway, but boy, let me tell you, I didn't realize that I'm getting toxins into my system, and somebody better care, because I am calling for an all-out calling of concerned citizens here in Clark County, Washington, for the failing law and justice. We have got to get this straight. My son's there for over 7 months with something that he was charged with, but the prosecutor knows that that was not going to get a conviction. So he added 2. It's called prosecutorial misconduct and a few other things that I can't think of right now because I've got other things I'm doing, right? So I've asked my son to ask those inmates to write down their experience there in the Clark County Corrections. We people, the public, wants our hard-earned tax dollars to go towards a decent jail situation. It's only a fine line of who might be going there and who might not be. And so I am again asking all citizens that are concerned about our law and justice, our jail system, our judicial system, and the prosecutorial system that they need to stand up and get organized immediately. On record is my phone number and my email that I asked them not to black out. Also, I want to state that the world, around the world, 50% sperm count is down below 50%. People need to figure out what they're putting into their bodies. We do know that the COVID bioweapon was just that, a bioweapon, and I have a First Amendment right to give my opinion as to calling Melnick a medicine man. You might take offense to that, but he does shovel out medicine, and he is a man. At least that's what he represents to be, right? So I don't have to say medicine, he, she, or they, or anything. He is a medicine man, and I call him Medicine Man Melnick, and I can do that. He represents 3 other counties, and this man must be looked into, investigated, and we want him to be transparent to the people as to knowing the patents in those COVID bioweapons, because he needs to come out and, if not, contradict what has been
Okay,
put on
your
record.
time is up. Thank you. Anyone else, Michelle?
No, ma'am.
Okay, then moving on to old business, 4.1, the minutes. Are there any corrections or changes to the minutes?
Chair.
Yes, please.
Yeah, one minor correction. In the third bullet point under council reports, there's NAC, the acronym should be NACCC, which is the Neighborhood Associations Council of Clark County. Just, it was put as NAC and Neighborhood Association of County, so just a minor correction.
So add a C,
2 Cs.
2 Cs.
While we're doing that, there's a spelling error in council reports first bullet on the word right. It's the wrong spelling of the writing a letter right
Right.
with a W.
Right with the W. Okay, any other corrections? Okay, with those corrections, I'll entertain a motion to approve the minutes.
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes.
Okay, it's been moved. Is there a second?
Second.
Moved and seconded. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay, motion carries. Now, moving on, old business, 4.2, law and justice. I'm
Yes,
not
so
sure who's, Kathleen, are you presenting?
Yeah, I'll just kick it off here. Some follow-up information from last week. Mark Gasway will go over some updated financial information to show like the cost per home and other information. So he'll go first, and then Amber will talk about some public outreach opportunities, and then we'll talk about next steps. So I'll hand it over to Mark.
Great. Go ahead, Mark.
Good afternoon, Council. Apologize, I'm not there in person, but I am here. I just wanted to show you, there's been some updates to the information that you were provided last week. I've created a model that helps calculate, depending on which options are taken, the amount of revenue that could be generated from different opportunities. The first one is, of course, the 1% that the council has available to them each year. The second one is right now a legislative option of the 3%, which may or may not be approved. We'll know later this month. And then the third option is a levy lid lift scenario. There's so many different variables with this. I've built in the ability to have a one-time permanent levy lid lift or a multi-year lid lift, depending on the amount of revenue that needs to be generated. And then in the column over on the left-hand side, the column C shows the impact of, well, column B shows the amount of revenue that would be generated based on the amount of the lid lift, and then the impact to the homeowner, a medium with a medium home value of $540,000. So this model, it's interactive. It can do different scenarios, again, depending on how much revenue is needed to be raised. And once we know more about where we're going with the options, we can use this to help estimate the amount that would be needed. So just wanted to let council know that this was available. So
Thank you. What is the maximum that we could take with the levy lid lift?
if you scroll down, Michelle, yeah, scroll down that page
Oh,
down to the
good.
bottom there. Keep going to the 105. There you go. So
105.
there's the 105. It would generate just about $130 million. And the impact would be about $584 per year per average home.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. So if you have any questions with this, or you'd like a demonstration sometime, we can do that. Again, it just depends on how much we would want to pick a revenue target and then see what options, what variables we would be able to use to achieve that revenue. So
Then there was also that 911.
yeah, the sales tax are different. We kind of went over those last time. If you go to the revenue options tab, Michelle, it's the second tab at the bottom. Yeah, that one. This shows what the sales tax options are.
Okay. Okay, any questions? Go ahead, Councilor Little.
Yeah, thank you. I think I also received some information from your office about the different types of revenue sources and the impact on different income classes. And is it correct that both property tax and a sales tax, they're both regressive?
I don't know the answer to that. And actually, Jordan actually provided that. Thank you, Jordan, for finding that for us, because I had no idea where to even look for it. It did show that, and I'm not prepared to bring that up. I don't know, Jordan, if you have that, but it does show the impact on different different earning categories of both property tax and sales tax. And the sales tax is actually split into different segments that would show like a consumer sales tax or business sales tax. And so you kind of have to read through how that chart is organized. But yeah, it was interesting information. And I was surprised it was much closer in impact than I thought. So.
Michelle, can
Okay.
you go back to that levy lid lift scenario, the first? So Mark, this doesn't have any assumptions, like we would actually have to change
Yes.
like any of those 0%
Yes.
to put a 1% to actually see the financial impact, right?
Yes. So for example, Michelle, if you'll put in that yellow box that is in column P, you're right there, put in 0.1. So this would be 10 cents. And you can see that it would generate a one-time impact of 12.3 million. And that goes into year 2026. And then depending on whether it's a one-time permanent or a multi-year lid lift, you can also put across the top what that percentage, which council would choose, would be. So again, it would also show how much it generates above the amount of our current property tax. So by year 2033, this choice would generate almost $14.7 million.
So if you go up to the 3% one, even though this hasn't been approved yet, when you type in 3%, does it show it? Do you have to do it every year to show the compounding amount?
Yes, you do,
Okay.
because it would be an annual election at that point.
And
So
where we would change that, is that the bolded 0% right above the
Yes.
2026?
Yes, Michelle. So if you go up to that pink category up above, and where it says 00, it's bolded.
Column H.
Column H, and and yes, go down to there and put in 3%. Put in just a 3. You don't, yeah, yeah, there you go. That shows you how much that would generate in that pink category. And if that was the election going out several years, it would compound over time. So if you put a 3 in the next column over as well, you can see it would compound. So yeah. So that's how this model works. So it would help us.
I don't think that shows the compounding amount.
It does up in the line above. It shows you the annual amount in where it says 3% allowed increase, but it compounds it up above in that line. Yeah. So.
But would that be taking it 3% for both of those years? The 3%, that if we took that in 1 year, it would continue to compound over the years. But if we were able to take it a next year, theoretically,
Yeah.
then that
And
would be.
I think you have the same question I did, Chair. So the 2.3 million, and then you can see in the next year 2.4 million. That's the amount per year. But what Mark is saying is the number right above it, the 83.9, includes that compounding. So it's really 4.7 million that you would get in 2027 if you took it in 26 and 27.
And you can see that if you look down into the pink where
On
it
the
says
bottom.
the increase from the base. Yeah, you can see it in there. That's the increase from the base.
Well, and I think it's all the way on the bottom, right? On line 27,
Yes, correct.
4.842 million.
Yep, that's the compounding impact of taking it.
Okay, so we've heard varying outlooks on that 3%, and I know there was some legislation that was passed really, really early this morning that we haven't had a chance to fully digest. So I think we still need more time to really look at the full package of what funding options might be available. And related to the 1% is already an option that can be taken year after year if the council elects to do that.
Correct, but it is an annual election as well. I did not put it in as if it was automatic.
Take it a year at a time.
Correct. And
okay, go ahead.
I would say, Chair, my understanding right now is that you can have one or the other. If they change it, it would move from the councilmanic 1% to the councilmanic 3%. You can't do both.
It would be up to 3%.
Correct.
Right. Okay. Any questions or comments related to funding sources?
Chair.
Yes.
So just to clarify, if this bill does get approved, we have the option of taking 1 to 3%, correct? Is that what I'm hearing?
Correct.
Okay. Half percentage points, 1.5, 2.5?
We've never dealt in half before. It's either been the full, and I think we actually had some, and this is probably a legal question if we can do a partial.
I think it's
percent.
based on what's actually written in the legislation, and Jordan may know the answer to that.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Jordan.
Yes, Kathleen is correct. It would depend a bit on how the legislation is written. I also just want to give folks an update based on some of the tax and revenue bills that the legislature passed last night and has been amending. It does appear at this point, based on my understanding, that they have removed the change to up to 3%. And so it looks like that is gone. It sounded like the governor did not want that included. And it sounds like the legislature is moving in that direction. It is a bit of a black box still as they rush here at the 11th hour to finish, but it's sounding increasingly likely that is dead. It sounds like there was an amendment that was put forward and accepted to remove the 3% language from the budget bill as currently constructed.
Thank you. Anything else related to revenue?
And I'll just restate that is why we have a great model set up. So once the legislature is done, we can then use this model to formulate a path forward.
Great. Are we going to talk about what we're going to spend this money on
First,
at this
well,
time? Or is that?
next will be Amber talking about her plan for some public outreach.
Great.
We'll start there and then we'll talk about what we can spend on.
One step at a time.
So we had talked last week about the public relations and looking at how we're going to do the potentially polling in a couple of those areas. So what we're going to do, and I'll put this together and send this to council, is we're going to look at doing an open house every month for the summer to talk through the jail proposal. So the Capitol have it on so people can see it. We can talk through what that looks like. And then also adding the neighborhood associations onto that through the summer. We are engaging in May, talking through with Washington County because they go out every other year for a public safety piece in their county. And so what company they use for public relations as well as that. And that will tie in everything together. So that will be the jail or anything that council chooses to do, fund sheriff's deputies, the jail, the law and justice impacts, anything that we choose to do, that will be all encompassing with whatever company that we decide to go with. So that'll be coming forward end of May. But in the meantime, we'll talk through some grassroots pieces so that we can get going on that while we're hiring a company and then hit the ground running with, I know that we attended, Chair can talk about that, Identity Clark County last night and the support that they're willing to give us as well for help with any of the measures that we choose. So we will be doing that grassroots first to get going and then kick into some sort of formalized campaign after council's decision for what we want to fund. Kathleen, did I miss anything that you wanted me to cover?
No,
Okay.
thanks.
What questions?
Okay, are there any questions or comments at this time? Go ahead.
Yeah, I was just asking, maybe Jordan, I remember the governor wanted to put 100 million into deputies. What happened with that?
So that was folded into House Bill 2015, which does appear to be moving forward. The House and Senate both have passed that bill, and the House concurred with the Senate's amendments. So assuming that the governor is okay with the bill, that will move forward. And what that bill will do is a handful of things. One is it does establish a grant program subject to appropriations. Now, that's the key point. For law enforcement hiring. In the most recent version of the budget that I've seen, they've only approved 20 million, not the 100 million the governor was asking for that grant program. So it sounds like there may still be some space between what the governor initially wanted and what the legislature is looking to do. We'll know more obviously when the final budget drafts come out, but that's kind of where it's looking like it's heading. It does also provide for a 0.1% public safety sales tax, distinct from the public safety sales tax that currently exists. That if a county or city qualifies for the grant program, they are able to take councilmanically until I think the end of 2028, this 0.1% to be used broadly for law and justice purposes. And so that could include the jail, public defense, the sheriff's office, the PA's office, and things of that nature. And it also includes some responsibilities for the Criminal Justice Training Commission to help coordinate that. And so that bill does appear to be moving forward, though, unlike the property tax cap increase.
Councilor Little, if I can just add to what Jordan was speaking about as well, the 100 million though is not ongoing, as we know. So whatever we add to us will have to have some funding mechanism to pay. So I think that's another key component that we talked about last night. I know Sheriff can weigh in on this if he chooses to do so, but that's if we go through that grant program and get funding, we have to have funding available the next year to be able to pay for the folks that we hire. So just wanted to clarify that for the grant program.
No multi-year grants?
Not that I'm seeing, Jordan. Are you seeing that in the language in the bill?
No, it looks like it's mostly for initial hiring purposes that I've seen.
Right. Okay, and we really need to see what the criteria is and how we might be eligible for that. So we really can't make any decisions till it's
Till we're done.
finalized. But
Yes.
go ahead, Counselor Young.
Quick question on that sales tax. Is that a deduction from the state's portion or is that a new tax levied?
It's a brand new tax.
Okay, thank you.
Counselor Belcott.
Amber,
Yes.
when you're thinking about these open houses, are you thinking about a particular day, time, location?
So we are thinking about, and what we've done in the past is really looking at evenings and trying to open it up to folks that can't make it to our council meetings or can't, and really try to take it to the public. So kind of what we did with 179th, where we went out to the community, we'll be looking at ways we can take things out to the community, hold stuff downtown, hold stuff in every corner of the county, in our grassroots piece of that. And then we can, when we get our company hired, they can help us determine how we take that further with social media and various other things that we can do. But this is really a grassroots show that we'll be taking this on to be able to show people what we have available and answer the questions. Because I think I know Sheriff does that with all the neighborhood associations. So I think he called it a circuit. We'll be going out on circuit to talk through all these pieces.
Okay, you just answered my next question, like where are we getting the word out? So social media, like press release?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, and I
Right.
think that's the thing. We can definitely, we have Johnny in our communications department does a great job, but I think that hiring a company, especially with the volume and what our needs are going to be, is going to be key to be able to be successful, reaching the widest audience possible in our county.
All right. Thanks, Amber.
Absolutely.
Great. So what we're looking at here is really a significant multi-generational investment in law and justice as a complete package.
It's a great way to put it, Chair.
Thanks. Is there anything else now at this time? When will this come back to us? I know we have talked about various components of how we may want to, we haven't really, I think, honed in specifically on the spending part of this, which, I mean, we have to look at both things together, but we really need to be very clear on what we're spending and be able to justify that.
I'll kick it to Kathleen. I know that we wanted to, and we talked about that last week, of wanting to wait till the legislation because it's changing day by day as we see what's going to be available and then going from there. But Kathleen, if you want to take that one.
Yeah, and we are continuing to have discussions with the city of Vancouver, and they did confirm that they're not going out in August for any ballot measures. So there's no rush for us to do anything for August. And I think that is a good move. I think it allows us to continue to be more collaborative and intentional on what we're doing and how we're doing it. We've got a couple meetings scheduled over the next week and a half to continue to look at the costing that we've done to make sure we're on the same page. Again, they're open to discussions and collaborating and partnering on how we can fund both the law and justice impacts as well as the jail capital project. And then, as you know, we mentioned about the legislation. So I think everything's kind of coming to a closure with the legislature, because that will also inform the city on what options might be available for them to assist with any of these avenues that council chooses to move forward with. So I would ask, let us get through the next couple of weeks working with the city so that, we can come back and really hone in on what are council's priorities, and we can provide some options on what makes sense when it could go out to a ballot if needed, and the timing of everything. So I think that will help inform us moving forward.
And Chair, if I can just add to what Kathleen stated, is that in August, now that we know that Vancouver is not going to go out, I think the price tag that we got to put a ballot out was almost close to $1 million. So I think that when we look at that is also a decision to take into account when we're looking at the total package and how many bills are out there, and that lessens our cost as we put stuff out on the ballot, and that will factor in as well.
That was a good piece of information. Thanks. Any other questions or comments, thoughts? Okay, so this may come back next week? Oh, in 2 weeks? Okay,
Yes.
great. All right, stay tuned. Okay, on to new business meeting schedule.
Yes, so this is just looking ahead to see historically Memorial Day and 4th of July that week, council takes the week off. So we just want to make sure we get adequate notice out also to our community and also for scheduling purposes if council would like to take the week of Memorial Day off. And then the second one, the 4th of July, that is on a Friday. And to see if you want to take a week off, and if so, do you want to include the week leading up to that 4th of July Friday or the following week?
Council?
Week leading up.
If you want to take the week leading up to the 4th of July, so, and 4th of July is on a Friday, so it would be that 4th of July week. Is that, people are looking at their calendars. Any other thoughts on that? Otherwise, it's going to be the 4th of July week. Still feel like there's some uncertainty here, but
I'm fine with the week leading up. I'm looking at my children's schedules. That works.
okay, that's good. Great. And Memorial week, Memorial Day is Monday,
That's fine.
a Monday. So yeah, we're happy to take a couple weeks off.
Okay, thank you.
But just be aware, sometimes that means we double up in on other times. So we'll brace ourselves for that. So thanks for bringing that up. Okay, moving on. Proclamation Older Americans Month. Jordan.
Thanks, Council. I have a number of proclamations to bring for you today. The first one is Older Americans Month, as you'll see here, planning to be read on May 6th. And this would be someone from either the Agency on Aging or the Commission on Aging would be available to accept. So present this to Council to see if you're interested in doing this again this year. This is one we've done in the past. And if so, who might be interested in reading it?
Council?
Thumbs up.
Yep, I think there's thumbs up all around. Is there someone that has would like to read this one?
That's fine. I can read it.
Okay, thank you very much. Okay. So that's Older American Month, and there's Juror Appreciation Month.
Yes. So this one comes to us from Superior Court. Someone from Superior Court, either Pam as court administrator or perhaps one of our judges will come to accept this on behalf of the jurors that they are appreciative of. This would be read on May 6th as well. This is one that we have done. I think we did last year, but I think it had been a while prior to last year that the council had done this proclamation. So again, would see if council is interested in doing it again this year. And if so, who might be interested in reading it?
Okay, thumbs up. I think we're all supportive of that. Is there someone who would like to read this one?
I'll read it.
Counselor Young will read this one. Okay, then moving on to, let's see, Court Employee Appreciation Week.
Yes. So
this is a different date, isn't it?
This also will likely be on the 6th, as well as Court Employee Appreciation Week falls during the same week as Juror Appreciation Week. So it seems like the courts are appreciating everyone here at the beginning of May and all the good work that our court staff do. And so again, would see if council is interested in doing this one as well. And if so, who might be interested in reading it?
Yes, thumbs up, I think. Thumbs up all around.
I'd be happy to read it.
Counselor Little. And Jordan, I'm hoping you're keeping track of who's reading what.
I am, yes.
Good. Okay, and then Peace Officers Memorial Day. Is
Yes,
that
so
the
this
same date?
this will be May 20th. And Peace Officers Memorial Day is actually there's a proclamation that would be read at the council meeting on the 20th. And then whoever is interested in reading this, or it could be two different counselors, would also invite a counselor to come to the actual event itself on Peace Officers Memorial Day, which is May 29th. That's a Thursday. It's going to be 11 a.m. In the council hearing room. But there's an event there. I believe Councilor Belcott may have presented this last year. And
Yeah, and the year before. I was going to volunteer for it because it's something that I have police officers in my family, and since I'm military veteran, I like doing it.
Great. Thumbs up, I think, all around, and thank you, Counselor Belcott. Okay, Correctional Officers Week.
yes, so this is the final one I have, final proclamation I have to present to you today. The first week of May is also National Corrections Officer Week. And so I want to celebrate the good work that our corrections officers and juvenile detention officers do to help keep the community safe, both at large and then the folks that they are charged with caring for. And so would like to see if council would like to do this again this year, and if someone would like to volunteer to read it.
I think thumbs up all around, and I'll volunteer for this one. So everybody has a proclamation.
Wonderful. Thank you, Counselor.
Okay, anything else under new business? That's all the items that were listed. Yep. Okay, so counselor reports. Any counselor reports?
Chair,
Yes, go ahead.
I actually have quite a few this week. So just wanted to thank Pressa. Dave is here, Scott, and their staff was able to get a tour of Cressa this week, and was fascinating, interesting to see how it's all done. It's kind of a mystery until you go into that room and you see how everything unfolds. So appreciate the time that they spent with me, and the information that I gathered from that. I was also able to attend, as well as two other counselors, community court, the second anniversary of our community court, and was very touched by the work that they do there. Hearing directly from people that were in such a bad position only months before or years before, and to see the success that they've had in their lives through the action of the community court. Just very appreciative of the entire process, and all those that volunteered and spent their time in giving ideas on how to establish that court. It's a true asset for our county. Also attended the Housing Action Plan Steering Committee meeting as part of my assignment from ECHO. And so we are still at the very beginning phase. We're still kind of more information gathering rather than information giving. So I'll keep everybody up to date on that as well.
Oh, just a clarification. So that's the Homeless Action Plan?
Yes.
Okay.
Did I say just the HAP?
You said Housing Action
Okay.
Plan, so
Yeah, Homeless Action Plan. I'm sorry.
being updated
Yes,
this year.
good.
So I appreciate your involvement in that.
And then Opioid Abatement Council, Counselor Little's on that as well. And we have scored applications and are beginning our deliberation and inviting some grant applicants to come and speak with the Abatement Council. So we're on our way with that this year. And had also the CCACAC, which is the gosh, help me out here. All these acronyms. It's the Clark County
Accessible Community
Accessibility
Advisory
Committee.
Committee.
Yes, thank you. And we had some really good discussions. I appreciate the value that they bring, and being eyes that we can't possibly be, bringing that perspective. Us being able-bodied, we just don't have the same experience in life that they do, and so they're able to open our eyes to some things, and they're working on some good things, and also they're really working on their plan for what they're going to work through and accomplish this year. So it's a pleasure to be a part of that group. And then the last thing was that I did attend my own neighborhood association meeting, which is HAUG. And graciously, they gave me a few minutes to be able to talk about the jail, gave them the update on where we're at in the process and how we got to this point where we're at now, and the expense of the remodel, and had a bit of a conversation that had kind of a Q&A back and forth. I will say, although people understand very clearly the need for the jail and the nexus that comes with that, they are very reluctant right now to look at new taxes. You know, there's new taxes from the city that just got passed. There's additional taxes coming from the state legislature. So we have our jobs cut out for us to make sure that people are aware of the benefits that will come from this. So just wanted to provide those updates.
Great, thank you. Any other counselor updates? My counselor update will come in the form of a work session request, so I'll wait till then. Okay. Well, then moving on to work session requests. I attended a community meeting in Battleground related to Pacific Corps' proposal to site a high power transmission line. They're expanding. The plan is to expand at the Swift Reservoir, and for this line to go all the way across Clark County and wind up in Troutdale. So there's impacts, it impacts a good deal of District 5, District 4, and some of District 3. So I just wanted to suggest having someone from Pacific Corps come and just give us a briefing to see what's entailed with this line, because I've started receiving communications from people who live along the line, and other people might start getting those communications too. But these linear projects like this take a long, long time to site. It's been underway, I think, for a good deal of time with the energy siting FSEC. And I think I wrote down what FSEC is. FSEC's the Energy Facility Site Evaluation Committee. So it's a state committee. Anyway, so I would just put that out to the council if you'd be interested in hearing from Pacific Corps to understand what this project is.
Yes, I would be very supportive of that.
Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, great. Well, I'll follow 6, 5. I'm sorry. This vacancy here. Okay. I'm always good for a laugh. Okay, so that I'll follow up with that and work with the county manager to see about scheduling. Okay, so other work session requests?
None.
None?
No.
Okay, policy updates. Legislative updates.
All right. Good afternoon, Council. For the record, Jordan Bogey, Policy Analyst. Have a few updates for you. We are hopefully, knock on wood, very near the end of session. I know that everyone is hoping to get done by sine die, which is the 27th, so Sunday. So that is coming up quite quickly. We should hopefully be seeing a final draft of the budget by the end of the day tomorrow. If they are going to finish on time, we need to see it by then. As I mentioned a little bit in the law and justice discussion, it appears that the 3% property tax cap that was being considered by the legislature is now likely dead. There was an amendment offered to the revenue bill that it was a part of to get rid of it, that would have allowed for cities and counties to take up to 3% if inflation and population growth were at least that much. But it looks like that's not going to be happening this session, so it will remain at the 1% property tax cap limit that it has been. And I also just wanted to mention, just kind of related to the conversation that was had a little bit about taxes and regressivity. I did send out last week, council had some questions about how much, shares of income and things like that folks pay by income band. And so I had shared with council just a little bit of information from the Institute for Taxation and Economic Policy, which had put together state by state data on how much share of income folks pay based on where they're at by quintile. So, for example, based on their data and the way that they model this, Washington has the second most regressive state and local tax system in the country, due mainly to the state's reliance on sales taxes and property taxes. And as you can imagine, if you make $20,000 a year, you still have to buy groceries and things, some of which are tax exempt, but many of which your day-to-day purchases are not necessarily tax exempt. So for example, based on that data, the lowest quintile, so the bottom 20% of earners, spend about 11% of their income on sales taxes, and it's less than 5% for the top quintile. And they, in the data that was provided, it breaks it down a little bit because you could be in the top quintile, but if you're in the top 1%, you're a Jeff Bezos type, right? You're spending much less of your income on sales taxes most of the time, unless you're making some real big ticket purchases. Property taxes are somewhat less regressive, but in large part, that is due to the fact that if you are in the lowest income category, you are much less likely to own a home. And some of that methodology excludes seniors because there are a lot of exemptions in the tax code for older folks. And so based on that and the fact that Washington doesn't have an income tax, Washington state taxes are fairly regressive in that way. So I just wanted to add a little bit of context to that as we were having that conversation. Getting back to this legislative session specifically, the budget process is a little bit of a black box. So the status of our comprehensive plan extension request is still uncertain. Still does not seem super likely. I have not heard anything affirmative, but we'll continue to track that, and that'll be one of the first things we look for when the budgets are released. In better news, House Bill 1791, which harmonizes the use of REIT, the real estate excise tax. So REIT 1 and 2, that's been harmonized. And then we talked about it a little bit before, but House Bill 2015 looks like it's passed both chambers. The House concurred with the Senate's amendments to that bill. And so we'll need to look through all of the different requirements to be eligible, but it does appear that the 0.1% councilmanic sales tax for law and justice system purposes, along with the law enforcement grant program and some changes to the Criminal Justice Training Commission, will be moving forward, assuming that the governor signs the bill. And those were my main updates for you this week. There will be many more updates next week, assuming that they get the budget done, and a lot of stuff to go through with you all.
Jordan, can I add something real quick to the REIT 2? I know Councilor Young, you had an email exchange about the REIT 2 funding, and we'll bring this back, but Public Works we're going to go through next week financially and see what programs we have that coded to. So just so council's aware, REIT 2 is in our programming for the TIP. We use about 16% over the next 5 to 6 years on road projects. So we will have that broken down and any related to clean water and all those pieces. So we'll have that coming back to council now that we see that is moving forward, so that council's aware where that's programmed.
Thank you for that. And thanks for that information related to regressivity of our various tax structures. So that was very interesting. Okay, anything else legislatively?
That's all I've got for 8.1 there for you.
Okay, 8.2, Pacific Salmon.
Yes, so last week, as you'll recall, council had requested that draft a letter for our federal delegation asking them to maintain funding for the Pacific Coastal Salmon Recovery Fund. In particular, a lot of this funding supports the Lower Columbia Fish Recovery Board, which does quite a bit of work in Clark County. That funding would be jeopardized if the funding for the PCSRF is not continued. And so I have drafted a letter here, and thank you to Councilor Little for helping with some updates on a previous version of this letter. And so would present this to council to see if you all are happy with it. And if so, I will send out to our federal delegation asking them to maintain the funding for the PCSRF program.
Okay, any comments? Okay, thank you very much. It looks like everyone's in, I guess we'll do our double check with the thumbs. Councilor Belcott, are you a thumbs up on this? Great, thank you.
Thank you,
Okay,
Council.
Jordan. All right, and then that moves us to executive session. We have two items for a total of 20 minutes. So I think that would put us at 2:15 unless we need to extend. So we'll just go into executive session till 2:15. Thank you. I'm sorry, yes, we do need to recite the numbers. So 9.1 is pending litigation RCW 42.30.110 paren 1 paren little I for 15 minutes. And the other one is collective bargaining for 5. Thanks for that reminder.
And maybe you should do it because right now it's 1:57. So why don't we do like
2:20?
2:25?
Okay, till 2:20.
Perfect.
Thank you.
The chair has asked us to announce that executive session will be extended for an additional 10 minutes and open session will reconvene at 2:30. Thank you.
Council has returned from our executive session. There's no after action, and without objection, this meeting is adjourned.